It's a pleasure to welcome the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, longtime friend of mine, great author, great guy analyzing such things, John Lott from the mountains of, is it Montana? John, where are you? Where do we find you every time we talk?
Right now I'm in Utah, but I appreciate
Well,
that. So
same thing.
great talking to you.
I'm kidding. Whatever it is, I know it's picturesque, and thanks for taking time out of that day to talk to us. So you have a wonderful piece in Real Clear Politics that says that these Trump administration efforts could not only sharply reduce DC crime, but I have a feeling there are lessons to be learned here. And I wonder what your thoughts are first on it's funny. Let's start as simply as we can. You wrote More Guns, Less Crime. Let's begin with the premise 101, more cops, more law enforcement, less crime. It should be obvious.
You would hope so. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's a pretty simple point. If you want to reduce crime, you have to make it risky and costly for criminals to commit crime. And you can do that with higher arrest rates, higher conviction rates, longer prison sentences. You can also do it with allowing victims to be able to go and defend themselves. The one thing I'll say about Democrats in places like Washington, D.C. or other cities that they control, at least they're consistent. They don't want to make it riskier in terms of law enforcement, and they don't want to make it riskier in terms of letting people be able to go and defend themselves. I mean, you go look at D.C. D.C. has about 1,300 patrol officers in the city. Not more than about 400 are on duty at any point in time. You have 400 people on duty to go and protect 721,000 people. The statements from the head of the police union there saying about how stretched out the police are and just how overwhelmed they are with their work. You can understand that. When the first night Trump was able to put another 830 boots on the ground there, that's a huge increase in what they're able to do. So you're going to see increases in arrest rates. And under the Biden administration, basically the U.S. attorney for D.C. is the one who's responsible for prosecuting adult crimes. In 2022, the Biden appointee there refused to prosecute 67% of the arrests that were made. Even in 2023, he refused to prosecute over 55% of the arrests that were made there. So you're not arresting people because of the lack of police. You're not, and there are other restrictions that DC has put on police and how they're able to go and operate. And you're not prosecuting the people. And then even when you do prosecute them, they're not getting much of a penalty. And so, particularly for juvenile offenses. And so is it surprising that you have such high juvenile crime? One thing that's kind of amazing is if you just compare DC to other states or the Puerto Rico in this country. If you look at 2023, which is the final year for FBI data, you see that the murder rate is 54% higher in DC than it is for the next highest state, which is New Mexico. The violent crime rate is 54% higher. The robbery rate in DC is like 955% higher than the average robbery rate across the United States. I mean, these are startling numbers. And while some of these
speaking of numbers, with so many numbers at your disposal, which is part of your great value every time we talk, do you believe the Democrat pushback when they say, hey, this is needless? Crime in D.C. is at, let's all say it together, a 30-year low. Is it?
Right. Well, to be honest, we don't really know what the crime rate is in D.C. right now, in part because of basically claims about corruption in terms of them collecting the crime data. The D.C. police union has talked about how officers have been ordered to kind of, when they write their police reports, to take what would have been felonies and reclassify them as misdemeanors so that they won't show up in the data that the city reports or in the FBI data that's there. And we have no idea how extensive this is or how far it's gone back. But there's another problem that exists there, and it's something you and I have talked about in other forums, and that's you have two different types of crime numbers. You have data on crime reported to police, and that's what the FBI data is and what we're talking about for DC. And you have data on total crimes from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Now, we only have that nationally, but the thing is, we know that only about 43% of violent crimes are reported to police, and only about 30% of property crimes to police. And over the last few years after COVID, the measures that we have of total crime and the measures that we have of reported crime have gone in very different directions. While the number of reported crimes have remained flat or slightly fallen, the Bureau of Justice Statistics numbers indicate that we've had record percentage increases in total crimes. During the first 3 years of the Biden administration, we had a 55% increase in their measure of total crimes that were occurring. You know, that's more than twice as large as the largest previous increase that we had ever recorded back in like 2006. And
This
so,
is wonderful. Good. 30 seconds. Go ahead.
yeah, look, I mean, I'm sure what's going to happen is crime's going to fall in DC. And maybe other cities around the country will begin to get the idea, and constituents say, look, if they can go and do this in DC, why can't we do it in our places? Make it costly. I know lots of Democrats want to claim that law enforcement doesn't matter, that you can replace police officers with social welfare workers.
Social workers.
but hopefully, you know, people will get the message on this. And Trump has already done other, like going after criminal illegal aliens, which I think has helped reduce crime nationwide. And one can talk about that more too.
Well, any opportunity to talk with you about this is vital. John Lott, find him and find the crime prevention research center, and everything they do on guns, on crime, on solutions, etc. John Lott, thank you very, very much. Appreciate it.